I give the floor to the representative of Algeria.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the outset, I congratulate you on your assumption of the Security Council presidency for July, and I wish you every success in your duties. I also thank Mrs. Sigrid Kaag for her briefing. After 9 months of brutal killing machine being launched against the defenseless population in Gaza, the humanitarian situation is catastrophic. World Food Programme Executive Director Cindy McCain stated, and I quote, "People in Gaza are starving to death. Right now, people in Gaza are starving to death right now. The speed at which this man-made hunger and malnutrition crisis has ripped through Gaza is terrifying." And she added, "There is a very small window left to prevent an outright famine. And to do that, we need an immediate and full access to the north of the Gaza Strip. If we wait until famine has been officially declared, it will be too late. Thousand more will be dead." End of quote. Mr. President, last December, the Security Council adopted Resolution 2720 to establish a mechanism aiming at facilitate and simplify the procedure delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza. A mechanism that was presented as a solution to the obstacle imposed by the Israeli occupying administration. So, what is the situation today? A quick look at the latest UN statistic shows an undisputed conclusion. Resolution 2720 has proven ineffective. When this resolution was adopted, about 100 trucks entered Gaza daily. Before the 7th of October, there were 500. Today, the same problems remain, despite the effort of Mrs. Kaag. And humanitarian actors continue to face numerous difficulties in accessing Gaza. According to the ICP, extremely limited humanitarian access to and within the Gaza Strip continue to impede the safe and equitable delivery of life-saving, multi-sector humanitarian assistance, critical for famine prevention and response. These include severe limitation to the supply of goods, spare parts, as well as basic services. Last June, the access rate did not exceed 73 trucks per day. This small number is the result of the Israeli occupiers' deliberate policy of using starvation as a means of war. Yes, how can we justify the destruction and burning of the Rafah crossing, which is now out of service? How can we justify all the bureaucratic obstacles the occupation administration impose on humanitarian access? Image of more than 1,200 trucks lined up on the Egyptian side of the Palestinian border demonstrate the deterrent and complex administrative processes. The rate of trucks entry increased to 170 per day in April, proving that the smooth entry of aid is linked only to international pressure and, unfortunately, to the occupiers' willingness. We have repeatedly stated that the food crisis in Gaza is man-made. It's not the result of the failure of the international community or the UN mechanisms. It is due to the occupiers' policy of using starvation as a means of its dirty war against the Palestinians. Mr. President, today, distribution of humanitarian aid remains a major concern. UNRWA, the backbone of humanitarian action in Gaza, is prevented to operate throughout the Gaza Strip. It is unacceptable that even the OIOS report and Madame Colonna's report, UNRWA continues to be subject to attacks. We noticed that UNRWA was almost absent from the briefing we have heard today. Also, no provision related to its role in the effort of distribution and reconstruction in Gaza was mentioned. In this regard, a legitimate question should be asked on the plans for this agency, whose mandate is vital for the Palestinian people. For us, UNRWA is irrepressible, and the choice of NGOs to take on its task has proven ineffective. Furthermore, security issues related to distribution are to be expected. The Israeli occupying force systematically attacks the Palestinian local police during aid deliveries. And today, no one takes the risk of escorting aid convoys because they will be targeted by the occupying power. This is part of a policy, a deliberate policy aimed at destroying civil order and pushing Gazans out of their homeland. Mr. President, while we debate the number of trucks entering Gaza and how to compel the Israeli occupier to respect its obligation under international humanitarian law, people in Gaza are starving to death. This is the worst situation even documented. No one in Gaza is in food security. Yes, no one. The impact of blocking humanitarian aid from entering Gaza is seen in videos on social media that show people eating tree leaves, with some reports saying leaves have become a commodity, not for livestock, but for people to feed on. The consequences of blocking aid are shown in the faces of all the people in Gaza, 2.2 million people who are suffering from famine, as reported by the ICP Integrated Food Security Phase Classification. Mr. President and dear colleagues, in conclusion, we wonder if we in the Security Council will be able to really impose a solution that will put an end to the suffering of the Palestinians. The life of Palestinians in Gaza are threatened by hunger and disease. Without urgent action, the world will witness a humanitarian tragedy that will be written in the dark pages of history. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Algeria for his statement.